YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with Week 12 NFL Power Rankings, updating these every single Tuesday. Friendly reminder that they aren't predictions for the end of the year, updated every week. So if you win, going up. You lose, you're going down. If you're getting hot, if you're looking like a dominant team, you're going up. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Some people do their power rankings kind of predicting the end of the year. It's not how we do them here. But we also got straight up picks, score predictions every single week, plenty more content, even the offseason free agency NFL draft. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Be much appreciated. We have a Twitter, constantly talking NFL. Link down below for that, description, comments, as well as the Instagram, podcast, and Patreon. You see below me the Sided app. Go ahead and download that. There's some links down below for that as well. There's some debates on there that you can get involved. NFL debates. You vote. You argue just like you do in the comment section. But with this, you actually earn points and you can win gift cards, Amazon gift cards. So very cool. Link down below for that. Check it out. Right before we get started, Patreon, mention that. Link down below. A lot of you showing your support on there. Really appreciate you. Junior score predictions, my bets of the week for NFL, college football score predictions, updated NFL playoff predictions every week. A lot going on. Link down below for that. Appreciate it if you check it out. The power rankings, Week 12, the Jets have been down here all year, and they remain there. They almost came back in the Chargers, but obviously they didn't. That's kind of just the Chargers game. They're going to get conservative and let teams come back. But the Jets offense actually looks a little better with Flacco. That's pretty interesting. Denzel Mims, good to see him getting going there. But they're at 32. The Jags remain at 31. Big-time losing streak. Tough outing against maybe the best team in football, the Steelers. 30, the Bengals are going to go down 3 spots. A tough outing for them as well. They could have won. They were winning that Washington game before Joe Burrow got hurt, but ended up losing by a pretty good amount, and wasn't the best game for them, obviously. But again, they were winning at one point there before their quarterback got hurt. But they're gonna move down 3 spots to number 30. Number 29, the Cowboys. Cowboys get an upset win over the Vikings. Let's see if they can continue to grow on that. Let's see if that's just not a 1 week thing. But they are gonna move one spot to number 29. But a big game against Washington this week. Speaking of Washington, they're at 28. They get a win against the Bengals, much needed win. Joe Burrow did get hurt. You could argue they would have lost. They could have lost the game if Joe Burrow stayed in the game, but they executed, and it felt like they got better as the game went on. Defense was looking great. Offense was able to move the ball pretty easily towards the end of the game there and put the points up on the board that they needed. A big game against the Cowboys. Let's see if one of these teams can go on a little bit of a streak here. But for now, Washington football team, 28, 27. We got 3 NFC East teams in a row. Eagles down 3 spots, extremely disappointing. Based on the score, they actually looked like they could have won the Browns game, and they could have won it, but Browns were pretty comfortable most of that time. But just too many turnovers, too much sloppy play there. For a while, it was just 7-0 with that pick 6 being the only touchdown. So defense was doing their part for the most part that game. Obviously, so they got to figure something out on offense. Carson Wentz can't play that poorly against a team like the Browns. Well, the Browns are a good team, but that's a defense you should be able to move the ball against. So they'll play Seattle. I guess that's even more of a defense you should be able to move the ball against. So every week's a must-win for these NFC East teams. 26, the Lions are down 6 spots. I almost want to move the Lions out even further than that for that outing against the Carolina Panthers, a team that was on a 5-game losing streak, a team that's missing their best player in Christian McCaffrey, a team that's missing Teddy Bridgewater, their quarterback who's played very well, and they got to put an XFL quarterback, PJ Walker, who made some big-time throws in the game. And the Lions not only can't win that game, they should win that game. They get shut out, score 0 points, so that is beyond disappointing and confusing. I was saying, I think during the recap video, that maybe the most confusing game on the year was Week 11 Lions. Like it made no sense that they scored 0 points in that game. It made no sense whatsoever. So they're down 6 spots. They're down to 26. Pretty disappointing. They gotta, in my opinion, well, I think in everyone's opinion, they gotta fire pretty much the whole staff, including the front office. But I think it's rebuild time. There's really nothing. There's nothing telling me that they're going to turn it around and win even with a new staff. So they got to start finding new pieces on the roster as well. 25, the Chargers up 1 spot. They get a win against the Jets as they should. It's good to see the Chargers get a win though, but they're going to be up 1 spot for that. The Giants moved down 1. Not really because of what they did, because other teams had to move up. I guess one team had to. A couple teams, but then some teams moved down below them now. like the Lions. But, yeah, they had a bye, but they were looking pretty good before that bye. They're the best team in the NFC East in terms of how they're playing right now. Let's see if they actually can take the lead in the NFC East. They have an opportunity to do that going forward, obviously. I guess anybody does. So looking forward to watching the Giants. They play the Bengals this week. You expected the Giants to be able to win. The Broncos move up 2 spots. Upset win over the Dolphins. They did a really good job with the run game on offense, and they played really good defense, which the defensive part really not that surprising. But getting things going on offense, the run game looked fantastic against a pretty good team, pretty good defense in the Miami Dolphins. So that's a good win. Let's see them stay consistent now. I'm not going to make them jump up every time they win because then they disappoint us the next week or two after that. So I'm not going to have them soar up because of that. Falcons down 4 spots. Disappointing game against the Saints. Yes, the Saints are a pretty good team. But, they just couldn't get anything going on offense. And defense played all right for about a half. Wasn't terrible the rest of the game, but yeah, just a disappointing game for the Falcons there. 21, the Bears, they're saying put. They had a bye week there, but the Bears got to figure something out on offense. This is definitely got to be the worst offensive football right now and a very good defense. So they got to figure something out. Maybe the bye helped. They did have their injuries. A lot of teams do have injuries, though. Big game against the Packers this week. They're at 21. Patriots down 3 spots. They were getting hot. They were looking good. Then a winnable game against the Texans. They disappoint. They lose. I thought they kind of went away from the game plan in that game a little bit. I think they had a couple successful shots downfield, and that kind of got to their head. That's my explanation for that. Because why they went away from the run game so much is confusing. Because they would have won. They could have won the game, continuing to do that. But then seeing what Deshaun Watson was doing was throwing all over them. I guess they felt maybe they had to keep trying to take those shots. So disappointing loss for the Patriots right after they were starting to get hot. They're down 3 spots. Niners remain at 19. They haven't really been moving much, but there's really no reason to move them here, mainly based on other teams falling down there, losing and being disappointing. 18, the Texans. I moved the Texans up a whopping 10 spots. You rarely see that, 10 spots, but that's a big-time win against the Patriots. Their offense looked really good. It looks like it's better every step of the way. Deshaun Watson looked better. They were without Tunsil, too. I think the Cooks-Watson duo is starting to develop, a better. They're getting better chemistry. Obviously, they have other good receivers, too. Will Fuller's solid. They're just looking better. Defensively, they made stops when they needed to as well. I think it was a very well-coached defensive game. Actually, offensively, it was well coached for most of the game. They kind of got a little conservative, though. I thought Deshaun Watson could have thrown for about 500 yards. Yes, 500 yards in that game if they kept letting him. But yeah, and you kind of go back after they finally break free and it's a solid statement win there, even though it's probably not going to get them anywhere at this point because it's too late. You kind of look back and see what they've done. And there were some really tight losses against some really good teams. You look at the Titans game. That maybe they should have won the Vikings game that they probably should have sent to overtime, and they played really good teams in the Steelers, the Ravens early in the year, the Chiefs. So it's starting to look a little better. It's a bad situation that's starting to look a little better, especially compared to these other teams. Because a lot of these teams below them, I felt just definitely needed to move down below them here. Texans got the Lions this week, 18 versus 26. Let's see if they can take care of business there. The Vikings, I really wanted to move down more than 1 spot for losing the Cowboys. But it's really tough to move them down below some of these other teams. I just didn't feel that, that they had to move down below them, but I really wanted to because that's a disappointing loss. But again, their offense does look impressive. They won 3 out of the last 4 games, so I guess you can't have them plummet for that. Even though that's a bad loss. That's a bad loss. Their defense did not play well. But yeah, it's the other teams are kind of below them are kind of helping them out in terms of not moving down a whole bunch. But they're at 17. 16, the Panthers moved up 6 spots. They were on a big losing streak, and that's still part of the resume. But, they still, in some of those losses, they played pretty good football. They played good teams. And that's a big-time win against the Lions. Really beat up, quarterback, running back, shut out the Lions. It feels like, it's weird. It feels like even though they're on a losing streak, it feels like it's a team that could actually be getting better. And it's a scary team that can, they can just about win against anybody and lose to anybody. It feels like it's one of those teams. They play the Vikings this week, so I'm just realizing that it's 16 versus 17. I'm hoping Teddy plays. I think he does. Teddy, revenge game against the Vikings. I would love to see that. So the Panthers are up to 16. 15, Dolphins down 7 spots. That's a lot. But a disappointing loss against the Broncos will do that to you. I mean, extremely disappointing. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't really get anything going on offense. For some reason, Fitzpatrick was able to move the field, but then threw that pick. But yeah, just extremely disappointing. And I think we talked about it last week too. The top 15 really separate themselves. It's number 15, number 16, Dolphins, Panthers. And it's one next to each other. But there's a giant gap between those two teams. There is a giant gap. So the top 15 to me are the big boys right now. And there's probably another tier with the bigger boys, But the Dolphins fall to the bottom of kind of the big boy category there after that extremely disappointing loss. It's a young team, though. It's a young team of the future, so it's not the end of the world, obviously. 14, the Ravens, moving down also 7 spots. And, again, they're in the category with the big boys, so those big boys are looking impressive, winning, and the Ravens are extremely disappointing. They're going to fall to the bottom of that category there. Lost 3 out of the last 4. That will get you down here. And another thing, I can't really trust this team on either side of the ball, and that will get them down here as well. I can't rely on the offense when it matters. I can't rely on the defense when it matters. And going into the season, looking at last year as well, it feels like a team that you could rely on both sides of the ball. They're far from balance, which we thought they definitely could be. Extremely disappointing. And you look at the game they just lost as well. The Titans, half the team was out. They got guys getting hurt during the game. More second-string linemen going out, linebacker going down. And Ravens had control of the game, and they can't pull it off. I know they're missing some guys as well. A lot of teams are missing some guys. The Titans had a lot of players out in that game, so there's no excuses there. They're holding on to that Colts win. That Colts win is still pretty good, but they lost 3 out of the last 4. Tough company up here, so they're gonna have to move down to the bottom of that. If they can pull out a win against the Steelers, that can pull it off. But again, big gap after 15, so. Losing to the Steelers won't really drop you much, maybe not even at all here in this category. Browns up 2 spots. They've been winning some games. They have a loss to the Raiders somewhat recently. They've been winning some games. They haven't been too pretty, but they've been winning. Dominant run game. Defense is playing better than expected. So they're up 2 spots. It's looking like a pretty good Browns team. At least they got a good record there. So they're up 2 spots, 13. Raiders down 1 spot. It's almost going to say it's a good loss, but I don't know if there's such thing, and they did give up 35 points, so I can't really say that, but I'm impressed with the Raiders in general. I'm impressed with the offense, Derek Carr, these guys. They're looking really good. Play calling's great, but they did lose. They did lose the game they could have won there. Some maybe think they should have won, perhaps. They're down 1 spot, so it's I don't see a reason to drop them below the Browns, Ravens, teams like that, but. They did drop down 1 spot. At the end, they did lose, but I still really like this team. 11, the Buccaneers are down 2 spots. Buccaneers are tough because they disappoint more than they impress. And, that Rams game last night, I thought they got outplayed by quite a bit, to be honest. Defense had some really good moments for the Bucs, but they still had a chance to win the game. But it's extremely disappointing because these big primetime games, they lose. So it almost feels like they can't win the big games. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think what's true is they can't really beat good defenses. How many good defenses they play? They played the Saints twice. They played the Bears, and they played the Rams. And the Giants kind of have a sneaky good defense, so we'll count the Giants. Out of those games, they beat the Giants barely. They lost all those other ones. The Rams last night, when they just struggle against good defenses. So they've been disappointing for the most part, but they're still a very good, very talented team. They got to be better, but they got to be less sloppy. They're very sloppy. Still a talented team, and they do have key wins. They do have some key wins. That Raiders game, extremely impressive. That Packers game, extremely impressive. So it's really it's the ultimate matchup team. It's all about matchup for them, So they will move down because it's a disappointing loss. I'm not going to make them plummet. Because they do have key wins in the resume still, and they're a talented team, but they got to put it together. 10, Cardinals down 5 spots. It's a tough one, the Cardinals as well, because close loss to the Seahawks. You almost expect them to split. It was tough going in Thursday Night Football in Seattle. It's a tough one, but a game they could win because I think they're more balanced. They might have the better overall team than the Seahawks. Seahawks have Russell Wilson, of course. They got some stud players. But yeah, the Cardinals as a whole over the last, I guess, several weeks, pretty impressive. So it is tough to move them down 5 spots, but you got to kind of nitpick compared to the other teams. kind of look on their resume. They're still holding on to that Lions and Panthers loss, which I don't really like, but I do think they are better since then. But for now, they're gonna be down 5 spots. A game they could have won. There should have been more offense for the Cardinals in that game against the Seattle Seahawks. So, but they're down to number 10. They're still hanging around the top 10. Very good team, sneaky team, especially when it comes to the playoffs. They match up well. They don't really have any nightmare matchups compared to the Bucs. A team like the Bucs have some nightmare matchups. 9, Seattle Seahawks are gonna move up 5 spots. Yeah, again, it's a tough one because people don't like the Seahawks' resume. They're pretty much holding on to that Cardinals win. That's almost it right there for now. But then again, they just beat the Cardinals. That's a big time win. They're fresh off that, and then the Cardinals don't have some of the best losses as well. But 2 very good teams. Obviously, we'll see them in the playoffs. But the Seahawks for now, they did enough to move up to number 9 in an important win against the Arizona Cardinals. The Titans are 5 spots as well. That's a big-time win against the Ravens. Pretty much a depleted team. They're hurt. The key was their key players were not hurt for the most part. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, these guys took control and got the job done. It's a tough team. It's a really tough team. I like that. So that's a big-time win against the Ravens. It's a statement win, a must-needed win, for them. So they're back up 5 spots. It's another one of those teams where I don't think they can lose to anybody. They did lose to the Bengals, but bad matchup perhaps. But I think they can pretty much beat anybody as well. Just about if they're on their game. They got to get healthier, though. But they're at number 8. Packers down 3 spots. It's a tough loss against the Colts. It's a game they shouldn't lose. They play sloppy. It's a game they really shouldn't lose. They had a lead. So it's kind of back and forth with that. You kind of want to move them down more for having a game like that because they should win it. They shouldn't turn the ball over that much. But again, they normally don't really turn the ball over like that. So it could be a fluky game, but the Colts did force those. They played really good. But they're going to be down 3 spots to number 7. The Packers, do they have any statement wins? Maybe the Saints. I guess, the Vikings are never easy. They beat them once just because it's a rival game. But, yeah, do they have any statement wins? Because they kind of need some more of those. We're kind of talking about the Colts. The Colts really have any statement wins outside the Titans. They went and beat the Packers. So, Packers, big game against the Bears. I think we almost expect them to win that, though. So we'll see. 6, the Bills, they don't move at all. They had a bye week, so that kind of helped them, I suppose. But yeah, again, they didn't move at all. The Bills, I feel like, are starting to heat back up a little bit. They had the Cardinals game won, I guess, but I still like this team. It's a good team, and they're starting to heat it back up a little bit, even though that last game was a loss. So it's definitely a team that definitely can make some noise here going forward, especially in the playoffs. 5, the Colts are at number 5. Pretty wild. They're up 5 spots to number 5. And the thing with the Colts was you kind of want to see them compete with the offensive teams. You want to see them stay consistent because it was like back and forth for the most part. But they didn't really have any big statement wins either until they beat the Titans. They beat the Titans, but are we thinking, are they going to go that back and forth again? Are they going to lose this statement game against the Packers? They show they can win on defense and offense in this game, and that's key there. That's a big-time win. That's 2 in a row, 2 statement wins in a row. So they're up to number 5 there. That's they play the Titans 5 versus 8 again. I expect that game to, in a way, go differently. I think it was kind of close and back and forth. Anybody can win, and the Titans had some disasters on special teams to kind of put the Colts out in front. I think we're going to see that back and forth. Anybody can win. I will at least hope for the entertainment reasons. I'm thinking we're going to see that, for the most part. But hopefully Rivers is okay. But besides that, I think he is. Besides that, the Colts are fairly healthy. One of the more healthy teams in football. The Titans got to get healthy. So 5 versus 8. Really excited about that. I might surprise some people with this one. I got the Rams at number 4, up pretty good 8 spots. I like the Los Angeles Rams. I like this team a lot. The question with them before was they're one of those teams, can they stay consistent? Can they get these statement wins? They can. We knew that, but can they stay consistent? And they can. They have 2 big-time wins in a row against the Seahawks, against the Buccaneers. They were down Whitworth, Taylor Rapp in the Buccaneers win game, and they get the job done. Another thing, I want to see what's on the field. I want to see you dominate in the field. I want to see you play good ball on the field. This might be the most balanced team in football. Maybe the Steelers, but this is a very balanced team. They can win on both sides of the ball. This defense is extremely impressive. The offense, they got to control the turnovers a little bit, but they at times they are near impossible to stop. It's when they really want to score, they are going to score. And in the last two games, I don't think the final score will say what they did on the field. The Seahawks game, they controlled that whole game. They beat them up pretty good. The scoreboard, the final score will not show that. They beat them up pretty good. The Buccaneers, it got a little scary in terms of the score, but they outplayed the Buccaneers by quite a bit. So that is a little bit of a knock on the Rams. I want them to put teams away, but I was never worried about the Rams. If the Buccaneers were to score, the Rams were just going to go score. When they needed to score, they were going to score. That's how good it's a really good team. And I think they're getting better. You go back to the Niners loss, the Bills loss, they are you can feel it. You can see it. They are a much, much better team than then. The Dolphins game, Goff kind of hurt them in that. Dolphins had a good game plan, but they are much better, and that's another reason you can move up into power rankings. Playing good football, both sides of the ball sure helps. Going on a win streak, getting statement wins, getting back-to-back statement wins, staying a little more consistent, and improving. Those are all the keys to moving up in my power rankings. So I really like this Rams team. I want Goff to control the turnovers a little bit. I do want them to roll him out a bit more. It feels like when he stands in the pocket, that's when he throws the interceptions. And I want them to go and put games away. You have the opportunity. You can score at will. Go put the games away. I like this Rams team. I think it's a really sneaky team here. It's a really good team that I think is better than people think. The top three staying the same once again. I think these are the clear top three. Clear. Steelers are undefeated. We all could be predicting the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl at the end of the day. There's really no reason to move them up one for that. Weekly updated. Steelers are undefeated. Another dominant performance. Yes, it was against the Jaguars. They're playing great ball on both sides of the ball. They're staying pretty consistent. The Chiefs look very good. Defensive performance wasn't too good against the Raiders, but that offense is damn good. It's the best offense in football. The Saints, no matter who's at quarterback, they're able to make some plays on offense, but the defense is really, really heating up. And it's looking dominant the last few weeks, so that's something to look out for. Looking like one of the more balanced teams in football. We talk about the Rams, talk about the Steelers, talk about the Saints. Very balanced there. We still have our questions about the offense for the Saints. Can Taysom Hill continue to roll? When is Drew Brees actually going to be back? There's some questions there, but consistency is key there, and they got it right now. They're on quite a bit of a streak, but I'm impressed with that defense. I think it's an offensive league. It's an offensive league for sure, but defense showing up here. Look at the top five. I think in the top five we might have, the way they're playing right now, in the top five we might have the four out of the five are the four best defensive football perhaps. Steelers I think is the best, and then the way the Saints are playing right now, the Rams I'd probably put at the second best defense in the NFL. The Colts are looking really good on defense. So defense, I don't think defense wins ball games. I think if you add defense to your offense, then that's dangerous. You don't need the best offensive football. But you see, defense definitely does matter looking at the top five there for sure. But yeah, another big week coming up. We're going to have 3 games on Thanksgiving. So excited about that. And the biggest one, Ravens at Steelers. You see the 1 versus 14. There's the night game on Thanksgiving. So I'm excited about that. We're updating these every week. So hopefully you join us for these weekly picks, score predictions, and plenty more on the channel as well. So please like, subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss a thing. Be much appreciated. That's going to do it for this one, though. Everyone, thanks for watching. Goodbye.